Finnish fans are really, really passionate, and they definitely make sure that if you're doing well, you always know about it. If you're doing bad, you definitely will know about it. Throughout time, Finnish Counter-Strike was amongst the top 5 nations in the world. Right now, if you compare from there to now, obviously we're not as high as we used to be. I think always one thing that's been a hindrance is the fact that we have an army system. Basically, anyone that's 19 or 20 has to go to the army, and almost no exceptions. And a lot of those people that do go to the army then afterwards don't come back to playing computer games professionally. Guidance and leadership is definitely a factor that doesn't get accounted to. It's one thing where I definitely think in Finland there's been a lack of. Tommy Lurpis has been a guy who was an iconic leader. He had this strict kind of a leadership, and that's pretty much one of the reasons why in ENCE we wanted to bring more of the experience factor when we brought Nasu on the team. Nasu and Lurpis being brothers is always an interesting dynamic back in the days. I think it's a little bit different the way you would think about brothers being in the same team. It could be really problematic, there could be a lot of fiery situations, but they were so different individually.
First of all, he was one of the most talented people in Finland at the time we started playing. When he first broke through internationally and started competing at big tournaments, he was actually 14, 15 years old. How amazed people would be today if a 14-year-old was competing with some of the world's best teams. But that's what he did then, because he was so talented. We used to joke that he was a bit like Spawn, because he was someone who I think among fans was a little overrated, but he had some of the most insane highlight clips. And part of that is he had incredibly good movement. If you were to ask people who actually watch 1.6 for years, they'd probably name him and Neo as, I would say, the best movement in the game. And the movement was so important in the game that it actually made quite a big of a difference.
Nasu basically was always part of the Wings team with Lurpis, and they were the kind of an up-and-coming team. They surprised everyone by winning a WEG Season 3 qualifiers, and they surprised everyone just beating a lot of top teams and qualifying for this month-long tournament in Korea. And that's where what kind of skyrocketed his career, his team's career.
I think in general, when you're, say, 16, 15, or 18, I think that's around the time if your brother is 2-3 years younger, you're probably not going to have that much in common because you're always going to be into different things at the time. So I think that definitely made our relationship much better and made us closer because we spent so much time together. And it also helped in keeping our team stable and always had a core that was never going to change. So I think that was very beneficial for us.
You would kind of get sometimes really ticked off and pissed off, but for the most part it was Lurpis that was always so persistent. It was the guy who would always be a control freak kind of a personality, but Nasu, I think because he knew his brother so well, he just didn't really care about it, and they had the most success together. I think since Nasu joined the team, I will say I feel like there's going to be a gradual improvement. He was a great wingman to a in-game leader. And he's been absorbing so much information from his brother Tommy, who was obviously one of the greatest in-game leaders in Finland. And also he's been playing with me, he's been playing with everyone pretty much that's been relevant the past 10 years in CS.
I think both me and Natu could help the team significantly. I've been sort of quasi-coaching here at this event now. Obviously can't speak during the rounds, but I think the input I can give in between rounds I think is helpful. That's what the team's told me. And I know Natu's joined a couple times here and there for practice or for games to coach. And what's great about him is he's always been playing at the top level. He was playing in the best Finnish teams in 2001. He played in B Skyline, was one of the best teams in the world in 2004. He played with us in 2007 when we were the best in the world. He came back in CSGO, he made the majors. He's just a very good player. He's always been dedicated.
I think Nasu, and along with Nasu, myself, and pretty much everyone in Finnish Counter-Strike miss Lurpis on the server, even though he can be a little bit obnoxious at times. And let's be honest, he can be an ass, but there's a reason for him to be an ass. He's a persistent guy who has one driving factor, and that is winning, and winning at all costs.
Obviously the results haven't been as good as what we were hoping for. I think finally we've sort of gotten to the right side of that when we brought in my brother. Once they got him in, at least they've said that they felt like they were actually making some progress.
I know the peak that he can rise to, so I feel like putting those multiple things together, as long as he's motivated, he brings everything from himself, I feel like he's definitely going to be an asset.
He still plays as if he were playing with us, and he knew that we were good enough as a team, that if he was sort of just a guy doing whatever he needed to be doing, they would do well. But I think he just needs to realize that he needs to take on a bigger role in this team. And if he does, I don't see any reason why the capability wouldn't be there, because we still do see flashes of it sometimes. It's just that I think you actually need to want to summon it for it to come. I don't think it just comes automatically.